Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back. As usual, we're going to have an at-length conversation. I have another amazing guest with me. I'm going to jump right into these questions so we can flow through the conversation. I want to start from the beginning where it all started. And for me, knowing you, that's what's the move. How did it happen? Why did you start it?
It went from being a 1 week thing to being, it went from being a weekend thing to being a every day you can find something thing. And it went from an every day you can find something newsletter to, okay, let's put everything on a calendar on a website because there's things going on all the time. And went from the website to social media because at the time, I think it was like 2000, I want to say 16, 17.
Mm-hmm.
I had the website, but I was sitting there like, oh, it's 2016, 2017.
Social
Nobody's on
media is
websites.
booming. We need it on the
Yeah.
platforms.
So I was like, all right, let me put it on
Exactly.
social media. I put What's the Move on social media, and we were posting like 100 different moves a day, and that was tedious. So then, to do that on someone else's platform is a lot, and then also you always run
Yeah.
the risk of, let's say
Them
something
taking
happens
something
to
down.
Twitter. And yeah, like
Yeah.
what happens? Let's say something happens to Twitter or something happens to Instagram, and now I have no platform. I have nothing to stand on. So
Mm-hmm.
within that process, we created the app, and the app was just became this one stop shop, our own platform. We don't have to worry about anybody
Any
else's systems.
parameters.
You don't have to worry about any of that.
Right.
So,
You make your own terms in agreement.
and that's as everybody should be doing. Like, social media is great, but if you could put your product or your platform on its own, it can stand on its own.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody can tell you anything.
Exactly. I agree 100%. I think it's so important to have like your own platform. I've been telling some people that I'm cool with for a while and they don't, they don't want to listen to me or they don't want to invest in themselves. They don't want to plan for the budget. They're like, oh, but it costs. I'm like, yeah, it costs. But what happens if you get restricted or removed or, something gets revoked, especially, like with how things are going with the music industry, a lot of people depend on having certain music behind them. So once you violate a copyright thing on these social platforms, they will take your whole video down. Forget just removing the audio. So it's just important, especially once you have a following, to be able to monetize on your stuff and just also just have full control of your creativity because it's not always 100% fair. Talking about just links and drinks and all that, COVID, Cuomo, adversity affecting the restaurants, and the event scene. What do you think about it? How does New York and just the rest of the U.S. recover or at least fight back? Should they even fight back at all?
um, so because my business is it's pretty reliant on what's going on with these bars and restaurants and indoor
Mm-hmm.
dining and all that stuff. I've been keeping a really close eye on it. I've been watching it. I've been learning more. I've been just following what Cuomo is, what his plan is. I've been following his
Right.
moves. Truthfully, um, well, one of the big reasons why we haven't been posting too many events on the page is because I personally think that it would be pretty selfish of us to tell people where to go or like be some type of influence.
Encourage the
Encourage,
the
right?
the
Like, it's
outdoors.
super
Yeah.
irresponsible of me to tell people, yo, this is happening here, and it's like, no, the goal is for you to stay your ass home. Sorry, I don't
No, you
know.
can use
Oh,
whatever language you want. We not restricting
goal
nothing.
is
You
for you to
good.
stay your ass home. So why would I tell or encourage you to go to a party or go to an event or go to anything? And
Hmm.
people hit you with the, oh, but we have social media this. I mean, social media. We have social distance this and social distance that. And it's like, yeah, but
Yeah,
the
but
best defense against all of this is for everybody to stay home.
right.
I think right now is a really, really, it's a really tough time because I think
I'm
I
trying to
think
stay
you
on the
realize
right
how
side
much.
of integrity.
Yeah, it's like there's integrity and then there's survival, and a
Hmm.
lot of these, like, I argue that you shouldn't go out to eat and you shouldn't go to these places, but then on the flip side of that, there are restaurant owners and people who work in the
Small
restaurant
businesses that
who,
need to
yeah,
stay
they need
afloat.
it. So it's like,
Hmm.
I don't. It's rough. It's hard to say. I know for myself though. with what's the move. I don't feel comfortable promoting anything going on.
Anything too much, too
Yeah,
far.
yeah, yeah. I'd much rather, if anything, go get yourself some food, but go back home. But I can't
I hear
encourage
you.
people to. People have sent me flyers for brunches, like, "Yo, bro, we're doing an outdoor brunch." I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't get behind that. Like, I just
But I
can't.
respect it. I respect you standing behind your beliefs, and I think that
Yeah,
that says a lot about what's the move and everything that you're doing, because you're not just doing it for the sake of a coin or the sake of just like being
that's
a
no way.
yes man. You're just making sure you stand behind what you stand for, and it's really important because however many years from now, when people look back at this, they'll be able to say, well, Taqee and what's the move, they made sure that they did what they felt was right, regardless of if we agree with what they felt was right is irrelevant. They still stood behind their beliefs, so that's pretty awesome.
I'm
Speaking of
learning
COVID,
that.
yeah, it is. It's
Yo, you just gotta do
extremely
what's right for
important.
you and do it. Aligns with your goals and your aspirations, man. You can't please everybody, but you can damn
You,
sure please
it's
yourself.
impossible. Exactly. You have to take care of yourself and
Hmm.
what belongs to you. Speaking of
Right.
COVID, and you said you're not really behind the whole going out movement right now. How do you feel about the vaccine?
I'm a black man in America, so I'm a little. I say this. Um, it's a vaccine. It's not a cure. So
Thank you.
it's gonna do the same thing that vaccines have done for years. Like when Spanish flu was out, when the flu was out, they gave out vaccines. The thing about it, I mean, it came years later, but the thing about
Yeah,
it, people are still getting vaccines
the
for the
flu.
flu. So
Exactly.
what does that tell you? This isn't gonna
It's
go
not
anywhere.
curing. Yeah, it's not curing anything. It's just
It's
gonna
not gonna
be
cure. The
one of
vaccine
those
is just
things where doctors bring you back to their office.
basically.
Yearly.
I feel like it's just gonna be one of those things where I feel like if your immune system really is at risk of being compromised by this virus, you probably need this vaccine.
Okay.
But
So you
I feel
think that higher risk individuals should consider the vaccine?
same thing, same reason why they give the flu first serve. The first people to get the flu shots are old people and babies because they're more at risk.
Okay.
Whereas people like in our age, we have pretty strong immune systems, and eventually we'll develop an immunity. We'll develop
Okay.
a because like think about it like this: the flu's been around forever, and everybody's had the flu like once or twice. Everybody's been a little sick or something once or twice, and it's like depending on your immune system, you'll be okay. That's just science. That's not me being an ass about it. That's just the truth. A lot of people will be okay, but there are people who are at risk, and while those people are still at risk, we got to be courteous and we have to be conscious of how we move. And then when that vaccine does come out, I think that the people who, if you are scared to catch it, if you feel like your immune system isn't strong enough, you should probably get it. I think the vaccine it's a choice thing, just like
It's a choice.
everything. It
So
should
you
be a
think
choice.
it definitely should be a choice, because there are talks
Mhm.
about companies trying to implement like you can't work here if you don't have the vaccine. And obviously
That's
schools
still
are,
dangerous.
are considering making it mandatory for children. So you are pro-choice pertaining to the
Yeah.
vaccine, but you do feel like those who
It's
are
pro choice. I
high
think
risk
it's
should
silly
consider
though
it.
because not everybody's going to need the vaccine. Like I said, not everybody's immune system is going to be compromised, so not everybody needs it. Not everybody got a flu shot, and
Yeah.
you were
Listen,
outside
it was
shaking
for
COVID.
me when I got the flu shot. Not recently, it was a couple years now, and I got the flu, and that was probably the worst. I'm like, I'm never taking this shot again. I might as well just deal with it. Like, and it was crazy because I felt like I was in a game, like bobbing and weaving on it. Like, I'm like, "Ooh, you sick? Don't touch me!" And like the whole house had. I was like, "Ooh, lock up in the room. I'm good. I'm good. Turn the heat up. We gonna sweat this out." And then I was down for the count. So I hear you. It's definitely. I'm not gonna linger too long on COVID, but I do have one more
No,
one more
I'm here.
COVID
No.
related question. So if there is no cure, and
Mhm.
this particular vaccine is noted as only treating certain symptoms, right? And we're not clear on exactly what those symptoms are, what they tested the symptoms, because it feels like an endless abundance of symptoms
Mhm.
tied to COVID. Would it be worth moving towards a herd community herd immunity approach. Like, go outside if you get it and get it.
Truthfully, I think that's what's happening in Atlanta. I think that's why Atlanta's in the situation it's in, where yeah, people are still getting it, but for the most part, nobody's catching it. Not in Atlanta. And if they
Yeah.
do catch it, it's like they don't show the symptoms. So that's the dangerous aspect, of course. They don't show the symptoms, so they're moving around. But at the same time, so many people, I think, are developing this immunity to it.
Just from, for me, I was like, when it first started, I was a little bit confused because I'm like, well, if we stay inside, how do we build an immunity for it? Right? There's this thing where when you have a baby, and I have a daughter, they say like you need to bring your kid outside and allow them to experience and be exposed to certain germs, because if you keep them inside, the moment they go outside, they're going to be sick, and it can be really, really bad. And the longer you keep them inside, the worse the sickness will be. That's from what a doctor told me, because they're afraid of new mom syndrome. And I was telling them, listen, I got plenty of nieces and nephews. I don't have new mom syndrome, but thanks for the advice. But they do it as a precaution because, new moms be like, oh my God, my baby, don't touch him. Whatever, but it's actually better. So do you think that like that applies here with COVID? I mean, like, you kind of have to have some, not necessarily exposed, like, don't go around someone that has it, obviously, but you should be outside so if there, let's say there is a piece of it there, but it's not necessarily that gonna affect you, then you build this immunity to it because you're now, isn't that kind of what happens with the flu? And that's why the flu sort of has to, like, evolve in order to keep looking for a body to be dormant in?
I don't know. I think my best guess, remember, I don't know, you're a 90s baby, right?
Yeah.
Remember chicken pox was a thing? Chicken pox came out, your parent would be like, oh, you got chicken pox? I'm going to bring my son over so that he can get chicken pox.
I've never had chicken pox, but that was a thing. That was a thing where people were like, come, let me, my kid needs it. Yeah.
Chicken pox, like, through your kids. And it's like,
that was a thing. That's crazy.
I think that we forget that humans are literally born with everything they need to fight off diseases.
So true. I'm so happy you're saying this.
But some people's immune systems are weaker than others, and that's a given. I'm sorry if you hear background noise. That's my fault.
It's okay. Listen, it's okay. It's fine. Like I said, I'm over here probably looking crazy, bouncing my eyes around. So you're fine with the dog. It's fine.
I think we it's tricky also because people keep on saying we don't know enough. We don't know enough. Through the course of this 9 months, we've learned a great deal about
a lot.
Virus. We've learned a great deal about viruses in general. So I think that now it's just a matter of people doing what best works for them. You have to do what best works for you. You can't be afraid to go out and live your life and do things, because if you don't, you miss out. Like it's really that simple.
I agree. I think that they are gonna have to start reassessing the like stay at home approach. I personally, I don't know that I want to partake in a vaccine, but I'm not necessarily 100% against it as far as long term, because like you said, there are some people that are just more high risk, or they're hypochondriacs, and I say that in the most respectful manner, but they just feel better knowing that like they took a vaccine. And so I just think that could be beneficial to certain persons or parties, and that's okay. But I do think it should definitely be pro-choice. I don't think that they should force. I think we should also just open our eyes a bit when certain things are forced on us, to start wondering like how much freedom do we have. It's bad, we don't even have to talk about just like us being black. We're just talking about just as Americans. Where's the line drawn where our freedom and like freedom of speech and pro-choice and all these things, when does that become blurred as we start implementing these things just because of a pandemic? And every however many years a pandemic is going to happen. That's life. So
I mean, I feel like this year also taught us a lot about our government and how our government use us, and how it's so crazy to me, because like through this election and through this pandemic and through just everything, you kind of watch these politicians constantly on their toes.
No,
This year has
seriously.
kept them on their toes. So now you kind of get a real feel for who it is we elected and
Yeah.
who it is that we put our trust in. Like
And
with,
then also just how to prepare for the
mhm,
next one, you know?
I feel like with we won't see the next pandemic. I think for years, like the next bad one, the one that put this one put the earth on pause for a minute. I don't think we're gonna get another one like this for quite some time. I think there's gonna be sicknesses, there's gonna be diseases, there's gonna be, of course, but uh, I don't think they're gonna cripple us the way this one. I think this crippled us so much because of the leadership that we had. Because there are so many countries that are back to normal.
Yeah,
Back to normal. It's our leadership, but
that's a
a
fair
big part of
assessment.
it also is on the individuals because Americans are selfish,
Yeah,
and
very,
I
very
don't
much
I don't
so.
just mean
Very
people.
privileged and
Yeah, I don't just mean people native to America. People who live in America,
living in
period,
America. Yeah,
are super privileged. They're super selfish. They're super privileged, and they don't realize like if we were
they
to
want what they
all get
want.
on the same page and say, hey, we're not going to go outside for the next 6 weeks. If we were to do that, we'd be good. But there are people who just can't stay in the house. So there are people
Yeah,
who just have to go here, have to do this. So it's like we that I feel like that's irrelevant at this point. We're not going to be able to fight it that way. We're not going to fight it by people staying home. We tried that for the first 4 weeks, and then
yeah.
after that month, everybody's like, "All right, I'm going outside. It's summertime. It's nice outside. I'm going out." And there's nothing we can do about it. I think that again, we just have to you have to fight this battle. It's not I don't think it's a grand scheme battle. It's not like a big page battle. I think it's an individual thing. And if you protect yourself individually, put it like this. I worked with kids before COVID and everything happened. I was a dean at a charter school, and there'll be some days where I have to cover for a kindergarten class. Taqee with a bunch of kindergartners is mad fun because I'm a big kid. But one thing that being true is no matter where you go, it's really, really difficult to get 20 something kindergartners to stop talking all at once.
Yeah.
So what do? Stop trying to get the entire group to stop talking and work on the first two. The first two that you got in line, tell those first two, I want to see you guys quiet. I want to see you guys doing the right thing because what's going to happen, the guys behind them
Are gonna
are going
follow.
to start doing it. The people behind them are going to start doing it. And slowly but surely, one by one, people are going to be quiet. Why? Because you focused on individuals. You didn't
Right.
focus on the whole group. So now you can pinpoint who's the one that's really talking and making it difficult. But because now everybody else is doing the right thing, all you do is, hey, give me your hand. Come here. You're going to walk with me.
Right. You put the spotlight on them.
Yeah, but I think that we've been, for so long, and this is going into black people too, for so long we've been trying to get on the same page, and that is slowing us up. We're trying to get, everybody's not going to be on the same page. Everybody's not going to believe what you believe. There are people that aren't even convinced coronavirus is real. So stop trying to get everybody on the same page and start working on what you can do for you and yours now.
And
Because
go from there.
my boy says it best, and that's literally become one of the mottos for our group chat at least. He says, mind your business, handle your business. We can't take care of everybody else. We can't change everybody else. So mind your business, let them handle them, and
Right.
you take
And
care of
handle your
you. And at
business.
the end of the day,
Exactly.
we all got the same end goal. Like we all want to be well off financially. We all want to live a very peaceful life. We all got the same end goal, but we have different ways of getting to it, and that's fine. I think that instead of us trying to do things all together, we do things individually, do things community wise, and like that.
Okay. So I remember I met you at a Jay-Z listening party. It was in the city somewhere. A friend of mine
SOB.
had brought me. Yes, at SOB's. And it was an amazing event and you were hosting. And so when I had knew of you prior to, again, like I said, I knew of you from What's the Move. So to see you hosting, that was a great, kind of a different setting for me personally to see you. So now that What's the Move has really, really taken the forefront, how did the two intertwine, and do you still want to have a hosting career or be in that hosting scene throughout your career going forward?
They intertwine quite perfectly, actually. It's kind of one scratch the other's back, like at all times. Like if I was hosting a party, I could promote the party on What's the Move, or people
Okay.
wanted to promote their parties or be looking for an event, looking for a host, I could be like, oh, well, I also host events and I could promote it. Like it worked hand in
It
hand.
goes together. Mm-hmm.
I think, however, in 2018, like towards the end of 2018, I started to say to myself, I don't want to do this no more. Like
He was over it.
It became a job and it stopped being fun for me. It stopped being fun for me because I personally, like, I'm not as much of a party scene person anymore. Like, I'm a lot more, for lack of better words, I'm getting old. So it's just not the same for me.
More of that intimate setting.
Yeah. I'm way more intimate settings, dinner parties, group things. I can't really, the big things, I don't got the energy for it anymore. I just don't have the energy to jump on stage, and I don't have it. So it's like, instead of lying to myself, I'm gonna just I'd rather put the event together and look for new hosting talent and put new people in position to shine and get the stage that they've always wanted. But I think just nightlife in general, like it's one just it's one big umbrella, and there's so many different things under it. There's hosting, there's DJing, there's throwing parties, there's so many different avenues with nightlife. So I think that if you remain, within one, you'll brush shoulders with the other.
Okay.
But I think for me, hosting is unless it's a really big deal, it's something that I'm really passionate about, I don't think I'm gonna be doing too much hosting.
Okay. So where would you like to see What's the Move end up? I know you already have your app for it, but what's next for What's the Move?
So I've taken this time to really, really sit with the feedback and sit with voices and opinions other than my own. Of course, my team and people, of course, who use the app, and just people who are just watching the sport on the side. They make suggestions, and I've been really using this time to take all of that in and apply it to what the next level of What's the Move is going to look like. And I gotta say, it's looking good. I said it a couple times, so I don't mind saying
it. I love to hear it.
I said it a couple times, so I don't mind saying it again. But one of my big focuses is going to be selling tickets through What's the Move.
Oh, okay. That's a great transition.
Super great transition. And I say this all the time. Someone asked me, where did I get that idea? And all I said to them was, Eventbrite made $201 million one year.
That's the first thing that came to my mind. Was like, oh yeah.
They don't promote your event. They don't do what we do. They don't promote your events.
So I imagine.
I'm sorry.
he's saying yeah, like he's cheering you on. You get it? Like he's like yeah. That's
he's
what
the antagonist in this story. I'm not gonna hype it up like he's the support. No, he's the antagonist in this story. But not him. But yeah, like it's just I think Eventbrite and tech period, like getting into more tech, the tech aspect of it, and turning What's the Move more so into a new. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Listen. I get it. I had to get someone to take my daughter somewhere because otherwise she would have been up in here like this.
Like, what you doing?
Like, hi, my name's Callie.
He didn't jump up and like put his face on the screen to see what's going on. He does it any other time. But I had a friend tell me that by entering that realm of selling tickets, I'd be disrupting an industry, like an entire. Yeah, I mean the ticket industry is pretty big, and then when you think about it, Eventbrite takes a big chunk out of people's profits. So like let's say your ticket is $20, Eventbrite's walking away with at least $4, and that's a lot. That adds up. That adds up
per ticket.
Per ticket, that adds up. So if I can find a way to sell tickets for less or take a smaller cut, boom, you just disrupted an entire industry. So that's something I'm just kind of.
But isn't that the goal anyway? Is to reinvent the wheel, So it sucks for them, right? But also it's always good to kind of come in with a new perspective. Yeah, you might disrupt an industry, but maybe it's an industry or a process that needed to be disrupted. It's one thing if it's not broke, don't fix it. But it kind of is broke if if they're hurting the other business that's coming to them, or if they have like a monopoly on it to a point where someone else, they can't afford maybe to take that big of a cut,
Right.
or they're doing it but they're not getting any promotion out of it, so they put all their budget just to have sales or whatever, whereas you come in with what's the move, and now you're doing this, you're giving a better package overall, where it's like, yeah, at least I know I'm reaching my target market,
Right.
I'm getting the promotion, and I'm getting my sales. Like,
It's
I
just a
mean,
one-stop shop, and that
yeah.
I
Sometimes
had
you
a
need
friend
that.
tell me. I had a friend tell me like, it's a great idea. They fully support and believe in me, but it is disrupting an industry, a tech industry, which is something that they're not gonna like. And by they, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
They're not
Yeah,
gonna
we
like
know.
it, and
Yes,
they're
you
not.
definitely should be prepared for that.
And so, like, I think that's where I'm at right now, just kind of preparing myself, learning the in and outs of that industry, like ticket selling specifically. Like, for example,
Hmm.
I didn't know that a lot of the venues that Ticketmaster sells through, they have partnerships with those venues. So
Mm.
basically, whatever artist or anybody that comes to that venue, like Irving Plaza, for example, they have a partnership with Ticketmaster.
Hmm.
You'll never really see somebody selling their Irving Plaza tickets through Eventbrite. They always
Okay,
sell it
yeah.
through
They
Ticketmaster
always
because
do Ticketmaster. Yeah, yeah.
I'm just learning the industry. So I think that's been a blessing through all of this as well. Just making
Having that
upgrading
time
that,
to be
learning the
able to.
industry, figuring out what
Hmm.
my next couple moves are, and
It's also great because it helps you to know how to market yourself, so that
mhm,
when you do get your foot in the door, or take that leap of faith and contact these people that may already have partnerships, at least now you know what angle to come from to show them why it would be worth them leaving one for the other. So
right.
that's great. um so from what's the move, we're gonna go to text the move, and
Mm-hmm.
I want to know what's your goal with text the move. I'm sorry, it sounds weird as I'm saying it.
It's like, even I get slipped up with it.
Yeah, and would you say that what's the move, the app, is what sparked your interest in tech to begin with, or did you already have an interest in it prior to?
What's the move was the thing that made me realize. Actually, creating the app through What's the Move is the thing that made me realize What's the Move was a tech company from the beginning. Like I never thought about it like that. I'm just thinking, hey, I'm telling people where to go party, where to go get a drink, where to go get food. But it
Yeah.
was a tech company from the very beginning. As soon as we started using email marketing and
Yep.
websites and social media, we were using tech platforms to push ourselves. Um, so where Text the Move is, I don't have much of a tech background. I don't have a huge tech background. I'm like actually learning the code now, and I'm learning more and more about just the tech industry now. But when I first started, I had so many questions about, how does this work? How does that work? How does this work? But I never felt comfortable asking those questions because I
Hmm.
felt like everybody else was already here, and I'm here trying to learn and catch up. So I go to these spaces and I go to these rooms, I go to these events that are tech fueled, and I felt out of place. And I always
Hmm.
looked at it as, my I feel like my background or where I'm from and my experiences never led me to be comfortable in these spaces. And I'm 100% sure that other people feel that way. So I wanted to
Yeah.
create spaces for those people so that we can start talking about technology in a different way. And when Clubhouse came out, Clubhouse is really dope. But
Yeah, it is.
one
It
thing
is.
I see is just there are so many different tech rooms about how technology works. And
Hmm.
what my goal is for Text the Move, and it's crazy because Clubhouse helped me kind of realize this. My goal for Text the Move is not to have conversations about how technology works, because I feel
Hmm.
like that's a conversation that not everybody can jump in on.
Yeah.
But if we start talking about how technology impact our culture, everybody can talk about that.
Get out
Everybody.
my questions, Taki. Get out my questions. Get out my questions.
Hey, great minds think alike. But yeah, like this, I told my mother. My mother goes, I've never really dabbled with technology. I said, yes, you have. She's like, what are you talking about? I said, you used to use tokens to get on the train. Now you use Metro cards, and pretty soon you're gonna be just be using your phone. I was like,
Phone.
that's technology right there. You are using technology. And she was like, damn, I didn't even think about
You
that. I'm
didn't
like,
even realize it. It's
You don't
crazy
realize.
how many things. First off, let's just say, for our generation,
Mm-hmm.
MySpace. we were all coding. We were all coding. And it's crazy for the ones that were really, I was one of the kids that was like, people was like, "Can you do my page for me?" I was like, "Yeah, I got you, girl." That's kind of like my claim to fame at one point. So I was like, "Yeah, yeah, I do your page." I was my stupid self. I could have been charging. I could have been doing all types
Fucking
of
people,
things, but I
yeah.
didn't even realize that that was just
You
basic
were a tech
HTML.
entrepreneur right there.
Yeah. So a lot of people
Designer.
don't know that. So I know that you started coding because I follow you on
Mhm.
social media. So I have two questions. The first question is, being that you're still at the beginning of this journey, would you be interested in having a tutor to help you along with it? And then also, how far are you with your coding journey? I know you were using Free Code Camp because you had
Mhm.
posted it on your page.
I think that I would love to. I mean, I'm a sponge. I'm a student of every whatever industry I'm in. I'm a student before anything else. So I I would love to like just learn more and have somebody who's knows more than me. Yes,
Yeah.
teach me what you got. Like give me all the ropes. Give me what you got. And that's how we should all be. Like to
Hmm.
assume that you know everything is telling the world that you know nothing.
Nothing.
So
I don't. Hmm.
I don't know. The way I look at it now, I know how to hook up a little web page or something. I could change the color, change the font, but it's like I still need that
That
information,
deeper.
that deeper understanding, because it's one thing to know. I think one of the like, for example, I think one of the biggest things with tech is coding is not necessarily doing it, but being able to read it.
Yes.
So it's like I can sit there and read a page and tell you what the page is going to look like, but I feel like we need to. I
It's a
want to be in
language.
a position to be able to write it and change whatever needs to be
Yep.
changed. So
Hmm.
free code camp is dope, but I found a bunch of other resources. My favorite resource thus far has been this app. I'm not getting paid to talk about them or promote
Yeah, I
them, but
know.
it's so good that I think everybody should rock with. It's called My Mimo. It's an
Mimo.
app. It's called Mimo. It's M1M0. And what it does
Mm.
is, you ever heard of Duolingo? The app
Hmm.
that teaches you how to
Yeah.
speak Spanish. It's the same thing. It teaches you how to code through games, through memory
Oh, okay.
games, through uh, short lessons, broken down lessons. So with that, I feel like that helped me a lot more than Free Code Camp, because I went from Free Code Camp learning how to do HTML and CSS, I think it's called, or something like that.
Hmm.
I went from doing just those to now I'm learning how to do Python, and now I'm learning how to do JavaScript, and now I'm learning how to do
Hmm.
all of these different types of coding languages, speak different coding languages. And I think that my journey, while I'm still kind of figuring it out and still learning and still making rookie mistakes, the consistency is the thing that's
Is
like
there?
keeping
Yeah.
me pushing and keeping me going along, keeping the process, the journey fun.
So
Um,
I'm someone who has been trying to get back into coding, and I suck at consistency. And my brother, who is a coding guru, he like does software engineering like top tier. He's legit. He's always like over me because he's like, you're not doing it enough. And so it's really hard because of what you were saying, where it's like I need it more on like a personal level, like
more
because it
hands
is,
on.
yeah, it's similar to a language. And so he was helping me out with understanding in that regard. But I think it's just really phenomenal because a lot of people don't understand how consistency across the board is a
It's a
really
skill.
important thing.
It's a
You know?
skill with any skill. Like how you think Steph Curry got that wicked jump shot? You know what I'm saying? He
Yeah.
practiced. He went in the gym every day, knocked down about 300-400 shots, and then said, "Okay, I'll be back tomorrow." And it's just that consistency with any skill, anything you want to teach yourself. I think, however, tech is one of those skills that I think our people are very, very intimidated by, because you think, when I grew up in the projects in the Bronx, I've never met a software engineer in my life. So as far as
Hmm.
I was concerned, until I started What's the Move, it didn't exist.
Yeah.
Never
For
do
me,
something like that.
because it wasn't understood by
Mm-hmm.
whoever may have been watching us, it was like, don't do that. Like, what are you
Right.
doing? You're gonna break it. And so
Mm-hmm.
it is very intimidating for our community. Based on your experience, is it realistic or a realistic possibility for all of us to learn code? Do you think it's something that anyone can do?
It's something that anyone can do, but you know, you have to have that drive. You have to have something in you that makes you want to do that thing. For example, like Steph Curry became one of the greatest shooters of all time because he wanted that. He was super intentional about it. He woke up with that. I'm waking up early so that I can do this. I think that anybody could have did that. Anybody could be the best jump shooter in the world. You just have to apply yourself and you have to want to do it. I think same thing with coding. If you want to be great at a specific language, spend the next month or spend the next 100 days focusing on Python. Spend the next 100 days focusing just on JavaScript. And in that 100 days, you're gonna be good. You're gonna be better than you were on day one. So it's just a matter of you have to want it. But I think for Black people, especially during this year, period, especially with all these resources that we have, why not pick up a skill that's going to pay you more than any job you've ever had put together? Like put together. Not just any job, put together. Put them together.
Also, right.
And then learning more and more about it, it's like, yo, you can make an easy 6 figures learning how to keep people from hacking a page. And that's your job. You sit in front of the computer doing that. And
you can be comfortable and you pull all the strings. You get to be able to like really say what you want and put your foot down and they will comply. You know, Kobe, may he rest in peace, something that he said was that he wasn't able to become like extraordinary just because he was just out there doing whatever. His standard was greatness first. So his regular worst days were great and he applied it as such. So that way on his great days or good days, he was actually extraordinary because great was the limit. And that's super important. You know, we're struggling. We're struggling with literacy, math, sciences, experiences outside of just, you know, like typical hood stuff and whatever, what we do on a daily basis. If we fix that barrier, we can move into the tech space and really tackle something and have confidence as we do it. How do you think that we fix that?
I think for one, we have to start showing the kids in the next generations coming up under us that these things exist. We show them at a young age that they exist, and then we show them that you don't lose your cool points, or you don't lose blackness, or you don't lose anything from getting into these realms and getting into these spaces. I think that's one thing that kind of prevents us from trying to be tech entrepreneurs, because you automatically think you have to be a nerd, and it's like, nah, you could be a whole gangster coded.
Right, you could be out here, you could be the baddest what did Jocelyn used to say, I'm the baddest punta or whatever. I'm not condoning that. I'm not, but that's what she said, so we're gonna say it.
Tech entrepreneur, like you can do both. But
you can do both. You can wear sweatpants and Yeezys and be the smartest person in the room, or you can be in a business suit, whatever fancies you. You know,
I just think that we gotta honestly, I think it falls back to the individual. Like, we're not gonna sit here. I don't think Text the Move mission is going to be to get up in front of everybody and say, yo, this is what we're doing now. That's not gonna work. However, I might be able to go into a school and have a free code camp for those kids.
Yeah.
And that, you know what I'm saying? Just bit by bit, you just plant seeds wherever you can plant seeds, but trying to cultivate an entire garden, an entire forest your first time around.
You gotta go to the individual.
Yeah.
You gotta go plant by plant. Yep. Exactly. Would you be interested in partnering with me to like fix it in those spaces, like you said, going to a school and doing a camp or something?
I'm definitely open for it because I can't do it alone, and you can't do it alone. We none of us can do any of this alone. So we have to kind of work together and cross brand and all that good stuff to make sure that, you know, we can reach as many people as we can. I think that there's so much power in teamwork and connecting and collaborating with people, because you gonna see something in a way that I've never looked at it. I'm going to see something in a way you've never looked at it. And when we come
Exactly.
together to mesh that, now we have something incredible.
And I apologize about the
No,
phone if you heard it.
no, no.
Everything's on do not
I didn't
disturb,
do
so I don't.
it.
I'm like, where is it ringing from? But 100%, I agree with that. I think it's really important, to go out to those who are interested and are willing to at least hear, because some of it is that they've never heard of it, to be able to be interested in it, and then some of it is I'm interested in it, but I don't really understand, what it is, or I can't afford to be a nerd, because in some places, like in some places that title can be a dangerous thing, and in other places it's like no one looks like me. A lot of it, I grew up, and when I entered into middle school, my parents decided for me that I was going to a private school, and that was it was like we don't care. I really tried my luck to not be in the private school, but they decided, and so it was really strange because a lot of the things that I had interest in, they didn't. And then when I did find spaces, nobody looked like me. And so it can be very intimidating, especially because if you look like us, there's a stigma around it, and you might get a look, and maybe that person is just having a bad day. But because of the stigma that we might have been taught by a community or by whomever one encounter, now we are automatically assuming it's that person having, an opinion on you, and then it becomes intimidating and makes you not want to ask the question. Like you said, you didn't feel like you could ask those questions you had. So it would be awesome for us to be able to, work together and start implementing some things in the tech realm. I also noticed that you had a fitness journey and a path that you went on, which was dope to see. I love seeing that because I personally have my own fitness journey that I'm working on. So anybody that I see working on any type of fitness, gaining, losing, just an overall healthier diet, I like to follow them because it helps to motivate and inspire myself. So I want to ask, what initiated that fitness path for you?
It's so funny you bringing this up. Today's my trainer's birthday. Mad funny.
Oh, happy birthday, trainer! Even though obviously this is gonna be whenever it posts, but still, happy birthday, trainer!
I got to a point where I wasn't happy with how I looked. I was tired walking up the steps, and I was learning at the same time that I'm living this unhealthy life. I'm learning more and more about what is healthy and what health looks like and what it can look like for our community. And so I jumped right in. I started a brand called Last Year Being Fat, and I was just like, yo, bigger than losing the weight and bigger than all of that is, let this be the last year you accept something you can change. And we look at it like it's such a tough thing, and it's hard. Don't get me wrong. We look at it like it's such a tough thing that we start to visualize it as impossible. And it's like you're in control of that. You have the utmost control in how you eat, how much water you drink, how active you are. That's on you. And so a lot of people will sit there and say, well, it's hard for me to lose weight. 100%. I'm sure it is. However, you can start by drinking more water. You can start by going out for a 10-minute, 15-minute walk. And so I just wanted to get to a better place. And I knew that, again, I knew there were other people who felt the way I did. So I was like, I'll be the first guy. I'll be the guy to jump first.
I'll be the example.
Yeah, I'll be the example. I'll be the guy to jump first. And then if you follow my lead, incredible. If you need a little bit more time, that's cool. And if you not with it, that's fine too. But don't let the excuse be, oh, I can't do this. I can't. But I mean, through it all, also it's a mindset thing. I had my trainer actually said this to me. Like, imagine if this is a gem too.
Drop the gems. Drop.
I got you.
Imagine drop the bombs on them.
Yeah. We got to get the soundboard. Imagine if you are a manager for this Fortune 500 company and you're interviewing for a new position, and two people come in. The first person is brand new, no experience, but they're in shape. They look like they work out a lot. They're in shape. They're eating. They walk into the office with a smoothie. You know, they look like they got it. But the next guy that comes in, overweight, walks in with a soda, some donuts, but he has experience. He's been on the job for a couple years. He has experience. Who would you put your trust into more to make sure that things will get done for you? In your mind, your first thought is, I'm gonna get the guy who has experience because he has experience. But if you looking at this guy, he don't even take care of himself.
So it makes you feel like he's not going to take care of the business.
Guy with he don't care as much. I know this guy is new, but he's ready. He has the mindset to get work done. And that is where one of my next ventures, actually, I think you'll be the first that I'm saying it to. One of my ventures is I want to be a life coach because
that would be so perfect for you.
Everybody says that. Like, my family and
that
friends,
would be so perfect for you.
I believe it more and more every time I hear that.
I'm here for it. Go for it. Because listen, that would be perfect.
So I just want to help people kind of get into it's mindset. Everything is mindset. Jim Carrey said once, like, Mondays don't suck. Your job doesn't suck. Your clothes don't suck. Your mindset sucks. You feel this way because in your mind, you're not appreciative of the things that you do have.
You have.
You're not appreciative.
Listen, they're going to be like, Taqee, fix my life. You're going to take Ayana's place.
But it's like, I think a lot of my focus is going to be on the youth. I think between middle school and high school kids, because those are those ages. I think those are the most important ages in our lives because that is where you start to develop your. That's I think when you start to develop your core, like your concrete ideals on how the world is run. And a lot of us, I can speak for myself. I had it fucked up. I had it all wrong. I thought I knew what I was talking about, but I didn't, and that's because I didn't have somebody come and not only tell me how to better myself, but tell me the truth. Not only tell me the truth, but tell me how to achieve it. And that's what I think a lot of, again, I work with kids and a lot of kids don't have that. But
no, it's for real. You don't have anybody to sit here and just be honest with you, you know, and especially in certain communities, they're just like, don't do this. Okay, so what should I do? Why shouldn't I?
And then they have no suggestions for you.
You know, and it's just like, just don't do it because I said don't do it. Oh, all right. Well, I'm gonna do it because that's what I feel like doing. So I feel like doing it. It looks more fun over here. So I'm gonna go have fun. If you can't tell me why I'm not about to have fun, I'm gonna just go have fun. Right. So that's definitely huge. I think a life coach is really a phenomenal and perfect position for you. Would you say that your fitness experience is a lifestyle change, or do you feel like it was more of like a temporary diet to get you to a certain point, and then once you get to that point you can kind of just do everything else and go from there?
I'm the perfect I can answer this question using myself as the example. It's so fire. All right, so when I first lost weight, I was like 245. Mad huge. I was like 245. I got to 219 and I started feeling myself. Right? So I'm like, you know, I got it. I got it in the bank. I could take an extra shot. I could get another drink. I can eat another thing. I could do that. I got room. I got space. You know what I'm saying? I got time. And plus I work out. But in the process of feeling myself, I altered the lifestyle. I no longer woke up early. I no longer drink water all the time. I no longer worked out every day. I changed the entire lifestyle. So when you start working out, and you start going to be the best coder you can be, when you start trying to make an app, you have to change your lifestyle. Your lifestyle has to align with your goals. And if it doesn't, you're not going to get there. Or it's going to be super temporary, like me. Now it's like, you know, I gained weight back. And then in order to lose it again, I had to tap back into that mindset, tap back into that lifestyle. You have to change certain things about how you move. Like part of my lifestyle was when I was losing weight was going to sleep super early so that I can wake up super early to go to the gym.
Be rested. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like you can't expect your lifestyle to change, or you can't expect to get the results you want if you don't change your lifestyle. Everything has to change up. If you are someone who's going out for a new job, but the job requires you to lift boxes or something like that, if you don't work out,
You're
if you
not gonna
don't
be
do,
able to
you
lift
know
them
what I'm saying, your
boxes.
lifestyle is not going to align with that job. So it's a lot of people, and that's another reason why I want to be a life coach. Like through that, like you learn that mental toughness to keep yourself consistent. One person who I
Mm-hmm.
like admire, it's so crazy because I didn't like him at first. I didn't like him at first, but I admire him now because of his work ethic, his focus, the lifestyle choices he makes. LeBron James. I used to
Mm.
hate LeBron, but he kept getting better. I'm like,
Yeah.
why did he get? Why? Because his lifestyle
Yeah,
aligned
he
with his
takes
goal.
listen, he takes good care of he's very
Exactly.
serious about that. He's like, you can say what you want about how much money I spend on X, Y, and Z, but if I'm supposed to make this much from my contract, I need to
Mm-hmm.
be able to perform so that I can make that
Exactly.
much then some on my next contract. And that's such a true thing. I've never been someone who believed in dieting. And I used to offend people. But I'm going on a diet and I would be like, that's stupid. And they're like, oh my God. No, and you know, maybe I could have been nicer about how I said it. But I would say it's stupid because of exactly what you just said, right? You're going to go on a diet. You're going to get the goal you want. And then when you get there, you're going to end up right back where you started because you're not going to stick to it.
You
It's
know what
a
it reminds me
lifestyle
of?
and it's a mentality.
It reminds me of when the IG honeys get their bodies done and then they get fat.
Oh,
It's like, yo, like, what did you think was gonna happen? You don't work out.
listen. For real, it's like, what did you think was going to happen?
You drinking Casamigos all summer and what did you think was gonna
They was
happen?
tapping on the bottle that makes the noise.
The Azul bottle.
They
You
was
tap the Azul bottle, that's it. But people don't realize that, like, in order to make those permanent changes in your life, you have to change your lifestyle. You just have to
yeah.
move different. You have to see things different. You have to consume things different. I tell people all the time, a lot of the stuff that we take in and we watch and we listen to, all that stuff is damaging. A lot of that stuff is
A
damaging.
lot of it, people don't realize that. Like, reality TV is not so real.
It's not. And that right there, that ruins your mindset. Because here you are sitting watching this show, consuming this type of content.
The
And
music.
now this is what you learn. This is what you're now applying to real life. And it doesn't work because it's not real.
They have to be able to, you have to take it in doses. You have to be able to segue it, you know, like, yeah, this artist might be saying shoot 'em up, bang, bang, but he may not really be doing none of that. Like, you know, and you have to realize. And then if it is, and you wonder why your favorite artist disappeared, well,
This is
because
why.
they would shoot 'em up, bang, bang. So it's like, you got to really realize what you're consuming and what you're endorsing and make sure that you keep a level head with it. How do you manage to stay committed to the lifestyle that you're in today?
I mind my business. No, I think that's honestly the best answer. Like you get serious about what you want to do, and you focus up. And I think that one thing that we do, I'm actually reading right now. I'm rereading a book called Atomic Habits, and this part that really stuck out to me was, oftentimes we fall short of our goals, but that's because we're not.
My questions, Taqee.
I'm sorry.
Now go ahead, Tom.
Like oftentimes, we fall short of our goals and we think to ourselves, all right, I just got to change the goal. The goal is not the problem. The system in which you've developed to achieve that goal sucks. Your system sucks.
Yeah. And I had to learn that the hard way.
Yeah, me too. You change the system, you will achieve your goals. But it's the system that has to change first. And I think that it's a mind thing. I think meditation OD helps. Like you have to sit with yourself and listen to yourself so that you can know what is the best option for yourself. And staying focused, being responsible with your time, and all that stuff falls into it. But once you get a hang of what works for you, you can't be stopped.
I agree 100%. You mentioned meditation, and I'm someone who I believe heavily on schedules and, you know, just having a sustainable plan for your day. But what's your take on faith, and have you embarked on a spiritual journey or exploration?
So funny you say that. My girlfriend is super duper spiritual, and we went to get a reading one day. Um, so we got the reading, and the lady looks at me and she goes, "You're a lot more spiritual than you think." She like, "You're a lot more connected to to spirituality than you think." She said, "You need to kind of let go and accept that." Ever since that day, I like I'm just careful with you know what I accept in my life, what I want in my life, the people around me, like because all of that stuff. I believe I'm a heavy believer in energy. Like energy is
Mm-hmm.
real. Like the universe is
Yeah.
real, pushing and pulling stuff. Boom. Perfect example to explain why I believe it so much. You ever been walking somewhere? We live in New York. It's busy streets. You ever been
Mm-hmm.
walking somewhere and you're walking forward and somebody's walking from this side and y'all just miss each other?
Miss each other. Yeah.
That's the universe. You may not want to think about it. That's the universe. Because what if for a split second something stopped you and then you continued walking again? Y'all would have crashed. But instead, the universe does things like this train is delayed for 5 minutes, or there's five people riding the elevator, so you got to catch the next one. Those little things, that's not. I don't think that's coincidence. That's the universe. The universe is moving around us to make sure you're good. Because that person that had to wait for the elevator and you having to wait for whatever, or you tripped up or something, that is making sure that y'all don't hit each other, y'all don't cross. But I
Mm-hmm.
mean, everybody has a different interpretation of what makes the world move and stuff. But I just think that there's
Importance behind
definitely energy
spirituality.
surrounding us and energy that controls all of it, and you can control that energy based on what you eat, what you consume, what you do, how you know manifest that.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, I think spirituality is huge, and your belief systems are very important. With
Mm-hmm.
all of the responsibilities that you've now tacked on between your fitness, you're planning to be a life coach. What's the move? Text the move. How do you find time to balance, enjoying life and making sure that you fill back up your own cup after pouring so much out on pretty much a daily basis?
To be honest, I'm just now getting to that. And the key to it was to stop taking myself so serious. Um, I know for a long time people used to say like, "Oh, I didn't know you like joked around and played around." Like, I'm the biggest clown you would ever meet in your life. It made me realize I haven't been that person in so long because I'm so driven and so focused and so
You're
ready. And
trying to
it's like,
accomplish everything.
yo, but it's like you have to learn when to take a step back from your work. Like I'm at a point now where after, depending on who it is, after a certain time, I'm not answering. Nothing personal, just I'm doing this for me. Like
Right.
I got time for
Just
me.
because I have free time doesn't mean I'm available.
Yo, just because I'm on Twitter talking, going on a rant, doesn't mean I have, the energy to stop what I'm doing and focus on your request or your question. It's
Mm-hmm.
just a matter of knowing when to give yourself that time and give yourself that space. Recovery is important. Like Sundays, for example, me and my girlfriend now on Sundays we do nothing. Like we let everybody know whatever we need to do for you, we got to do it Friday or Saturday, because on Sunday we're
Mm-hmm.
not doing anything. Like you could call the message. I'm sitting in front of
Listen,
the TV. I am eating. I'm chilling, and I think that's important. Like you can't take yourself
you
too
have to
seriously that you
set those
forget
days.
to
Self care.
self care. We call it. I say it every Sunday. It's like word to Issa, man. Self care Sunday. Like you can't. You got to
Word to
give
Issa.
word to Issa, man. You got to give yourself that time and that space to refuel, replenish, and just reassess where you are. And you don't realize it when you're on go mode how important that is, because in your mind you're just running off the fumes
Yeah.
of being
Excitement
in go
or
mode.
that.
Truthfully, you're running on
Yeah.
zero.
Mm-hmm.
You're running
And
on
you'll crash and
zero.
burn.
And you crash and burn it, or the thing that you're creating doesn't come out as great as it should have been because you shorten yourself. You're
Yeah,
not getting everything you need. So
for
you gotta
sure.
give yourself self-care time. If you don't feel, and the power of saying I don't feel like it.
It's okay to say no.
It's okay to
Sometimes you
say no.
have
It's
to.
okay to say, you know what, I'm not gonna do this. There's so many times where I left work on the table on a Tuesday because I'm just like, you know what,
I
I'm
need a
done.
break.
Like I've done all I could do today. I'm walking away. I'm doing something else because if I sit here any longer, I'm gonna lose my mind. And that's
And at times that's better because you're not going to be doing your best work anyway. So
exactly.
better to wait till later on when you know you have the energy and the focus than to, do your
Can't pour from an empty cup.
poorest on a situation. Just doubling back a little bit because we have brought up the culture.
Mhm.
I want to know, how has the culture impacted you, and how have you impacted the culture?
Um, this is always a funny. The word the culture is always a funny topic for me because there's so many there's so many things that we blame the culture for, and then there's so
Mm-hmm.
many things we want to claim is because of the culture. So it's like a double edged. This culture is like a double edged sword. So
Yeah.
on one hand, the culture can super benefit you, and on the other hand, the culture can cripple
Tear
you.
you
But
apart.
I
Mm-hmm.
think that what I've taken from the culture is just, and when I say the culture, I mean us. I mean our culture, and our
Yes.
culture is the culture. So
Yes.
I mean, I think that it is just being around people who want more. Like I had the opportunity. It's honestly a blessing to befriend so many dope people who are also chasing their passions and their dreams and creating something from scratch. And I feed off of that. Like I feed
Mm-hmm.
off of other people do it. Like excuse me, watching other people do their thing and watching other people overcome an obstacle. And I think that what I take from the culture is just looking around and being able to see there are people just like me who are in the trenches too. And we all in the trenches, we all working hard, we all trying to get to a certain place.
Mm-hmm.
I think I put that energy kind of back out because if you've known me, you said you've known me from What's the Move, but like I've been I used to manage artists and I used to do this and do that. And it's like always being able to reinvent myself and come back. Like I think I show that to the culture. Like one, like you're gonna get beat up, something you want really bad is not gonna work out, but what do? You keep going. You keep pushing forward, You just gotta you take the hit and keep moving forward.
I hear you. That is a huge thing, and I do agree that, using the term the culture can be tricky,
Mm-hmm.
because we do have a hard time agreeing upon what we are responsible for. Or I personally have been jacking this recently. Oh, not even just recently, for a little while now. Is that people, especially in America, because I can speak for Americans because that's where I am, have a really hard time with accountability. So
Mm-hmm.
it can become challenging when you start talking on culture,
Mm-hmm.
because, on one instance, it's like, yeah, you want to claim something, but then you don't support,
Everything about it.
everything about it. So, like, when Kim Kardashian did what she called the Bojangle braids, right? And she called it that because she got her particular inspiration from, I think she said Bojangle. If I'm saying it wrong, my apologies. But
Mm-hmm.
from that shoot, she
Mm-hmm.
wasn't saying that that's who invented the braids. But it's like, it was just funny because nobody wanted to put their foot down about cornrows prior to, you know. And then after that, it was, oh no, the workplace needs to let me have my hair how I have my hair, and, and it was the lemonade braids and da 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 da. And then we started backing it, so it can become tricky when we're not at least owning what it is. So with that being said, how would you like to see, you know, our culture or your culture represented in this country?
Um, I like to see it represented by the people that it most affects. Like for example, I'm not a Kim Kardashian fan.
Mm-hmm.
I don't got nothing against her. I just it's not my
Yeah,
cup of
yeah.
tea. But it's like Kim Kardashian, our culture. Kim Kardashian has no. I'm not gonna say no place in it, but she has no place to dictate what happens within our culture. I think that the people who dictate our culture and are really responsible for our culture are the people who live it every day, the people in the
Yeah.
project every day, the people living in, you know, less than Calabasas, you know. So it's like
Yeah. No, I agree
those are
100%.
the people who fuel the culture. Those are the people who empower it and who keep it moving forward. Us, we're the ones who
Mm-hmm.
keep it moving forward. So I think also for so long they've been trying to tell us that our culture was wrong,
Yeah.
and in the same breath trying to take as much as they can from the culture and pass it off as theirs. So
Right.
it's like, we're in a tough spot as far as that, because, for example, like people are just now getting the right to wear their natural hair to work, and it's
Yeah.
like you see what I'm saying? Like that's
No,
when you
I agree 100%. I
that's
agree
so
100%.
it's kind of like this is a part of our culture, and this is a part of how we view ourselves and how we want to carry and hold ourselves. This is the standard we want to hold ourselves to. But then there's always going to be that one group or one oppressing group or whatever that's trying to tell you that you can't do it or you shouldn't do it or this isn't valid or something like that. I feel like the culture is empowered so much when we just unapologetically ourselves.
Ourselves.
We
Yes.
do it
I
without,
definitely agree.
it's so much more
I,
powerful. But we're because we're the ones under the magnifying glass at all times. So it's like, what do you expect?
yeah. We
We
have to
use
do it and
words
be
like
resolved in it.
we use words like I've been jacking this for a long time. They look at it like, what? Like, what are you talking about?
What is
They
that?
don't,
A car?
they don't understand. So to them, it's like, okay, let's make this a more comfortable place for us. You can't use you can't use that word anymore. You can't say that anymore. It's inappropriate.
yeah.
No, you just don't understand it. So it's
Understand
inappropriate.
it.
So
Mm-hmm.
you know, but I think we're going to be fine as soon as we start to realize that
We are
we
who we
are the
are.
creators and the approvers of our culture. We don't need anybody else to approve of our culture, especially if they're not the ones coming up with this stuff. But we
Most
also got to
definitely.
expect people like Kim Kardashian and other people to bite off of it. Like, why wouldn't they? It's cool. Like,
Right.
cornrows
I
be looking.
think I think that, what you said is a big role is like we have to do it. We have to do it unapologetically and we have to stand by it.
Mhm.
And then we also have to accept that other people will do it because it's cool. And we shouldn't get mad if they do it, but also be sure that we explain and express like, look, you can do it, but just give credit where credit is due. And
I
I
don't.
think if we
I don't even look for that. I don't even look for the credit. I don't even look for the explanation, because ultimately you know why they're doing it, because they seem
yeah,
cool.
that's true.
So it's like there's no need to explain it, because what are they going to do? They're going to put the cornrows in their hair, go to their family cookouts or whatever the hell whatever the hell they do, and they're going to show it off. And it's like we can't police you. The thing about the culture is you can't police it. You can't police somebody for jacking our culture. You can't police somebody for jacking our slang. You can't. So it's like, why even try? Why try to? And why try to get an explanation to them?
Just
For
let
all
it
that,
go.
y'all do whatever half-ass version of us y'all can do, and we us. Like I think we wasted too much time trying to police something that is not tangible. We can't
There's
even hold it.
yeah.
We can't police it.
I love that. I do. So we're gonna just lighten it up. Well, kind of lighten it up a little bit, so we can go back to the feed. And so on Instagram, you was
Mhm.
letting it go, letting them fly. So, what are your thoughts on gun control and gun safety?
Oh,
Gun violence has been on a steady incline in the city. So, what's your perspective?
I think everybody should get a gun. Um, I think everybody should get a gun, because I think we live in a city where they literally, like, a condition for living in this city is uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Forfeiting your right. We're forfeiting our right to bear arms in living in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much everywhere else in the country, you can have a gun. If it's not a
Yeah,
major city, you can have a gun. Even in Florida and Texas, like you can have a
yeah,
gun,
definitely in
because
Texas.
One, when they wrote the Constitution and all that stuff for them, they didn't expect us to get to a level of freedom, get to a level of equality that we're still fighting for, get to a level of equality where those things apply to us too. So now we starting to get guns. I think, however, it's a double that too is a double-edged sword, because while I'm planning on moving to Florida, so I'm in my mind, yeah, I'm definitely gonna have a gun or two, maybe four. But
enough wherever I'm at, I can get to it.
and if you are so that day that I went there, that was my first time going to a shooting range, and they're very very big on gun safety. Even my girlfriend had a gun. It wasn't loaded, had nothing in it, and she was like looking at it, and she pointed it towards the guy, and he pushes it away. He says, "Could you not point that at me?" And it's like he didn't do it to be an ass. He's teaching her. He's teaching her gun safety and teaching her how serious it is. And from that moment, she was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Like, I get it now." Like, so when you have people who are teaching you how to use these firearms the right way and teaching you how to, gun safety and all that good stuff. On the flip side, you have a side of people who don't care about the gun safety and taking lessons and all that stuff, and they're just trying to protect themselves or trying to take things from people. It's a double-edged sword, man. One thing I will say though is, guns don't kill people.
People kill people.
People kill people. Like that's just where we are, and it sucks to say because there's so much gun violence and so much death. But honest to God, if people weren't pulling those triggers, those guns would just be laying there. And it sucks to say, but it's the truth. I think that we have to kind of come to that. Also, I think that it's important for people to have guns because there are people who just straight up don't like us that have guns, and you need to protect yourself.
Yeah, I think gun awareness, safety is important. Like it's a big deal. My significant other, he took me to a gun range, and I was like, yeah, we need to come back here. We definitely need to come back here. Yeah, for sure, because it's just something that you need to know. You need to know if you are wrestling for your life and the gun drops and you get to the gun and you have no other choice. You need to know what you're doing. You need to know how to do it, because you might end up hurting yourself or someone you care about, or like you said, there's some people that don't like us just because for whatever reason they don't like us, and you need to know how to protect yourself. And hopefully, and you deserve the right to protect yourself, and hopefully you're educating yourself and you're being responsible with it. And that's all we can do is hope for the best, and that the best in people will come out pertaining to that. Just speaking on, people being their best selves. You've been posting a few books, and how has reading enhanced your performance day to day?
Tremendously, actually. When I was in school, I hated reading because I hated when someone told me. Like, I hated that. Like, I don't want to read Johnny Tremaine. I want to read this.
Or they would give you the most drawn out books.
Yeah, and they don't really give you options. As soon as I started picking what books I wanted to read, reading it became like it became a big part of me. A whole new world, and it became such a big part of me. And I just really love reading is like, if you read a whole book, it's like taking a lesson from an expert in a specific topic. Like right now, like I said, I'm rereading Atomic Habits, and it's really, really dope because I'm learning how to develop better habits. Like, for the most part, I thought I had good habits, but now I'm starting to learn how to develop even better habits.
Better ones.
And it's just, I think that reading, it helps you also look at different perspectives. It helps you come up with new ideas. There's been so many times where I've been reading and I read something amazing through What's the Move. And I think that it's kind of like, it just levels up your mind. It levels up your mind. It gives you different perspectives. It gives you different ideas. There's been like I was saying, there's been times where I've been like reading and I read something that was just so just so prolific. I'll sit there and close the book and I'll go, I can apply this to what I'm doing right now, and then run to apply it to what I'm doing.
Those are
Like
the best
one of my favorite
moments.
books is Contagious by Jonah Berger. And it's just basically that's the book that gave Nipsey the idea to sell his mixtape for $100. This is also the book that gave me the idea to get on the train and tell people about the app as if I'm asking for money or selling candy or something, because I knew it was something that would get people talking. I got ideas like that from reading. So reading is definitely fundamental. It's super cliche when they said it in school, but they
But
were
it's
telling.
true. It's true. You
Yeah.
never know what will come out of a book, literally. So how many books do you read a month? Or do you read monthly, or how does that work for you? You just read as you feel the need
I mean,
or intrigue.
usually when before everything was going on, I had like a morning routine. Like before I go to work, I would sit and read a chapter. Like every day, I read a chapter from a different book. Um, I'm trying to get back into that, but now that I've been reading a lot more digitally, like PDF books, it's distracting because you'll be reading, you get a text message, and then that's it for you.
Yeah.
But
For me, it's the screen. I just can't handle like the
it's too much.
brightness.
I need
Yeah.
paper. I need the paper. Um, I think this year I've read, I want to say 14 books, maybe 13, either 13 or 14 books. And just each of them better than the last as far as teaching me something new and bringing me to a new level and just increasing my thought process. Yeah.
That's awesome. I think it's a great thing. Some people are just like, oh, but it's so boring. I'm like, you're just not reading the right thing, or you're not
Mm-hmm.
looking at it the right way. And I think it's dope that when we were outside, you were starting your day with something kind of positive and motivational, and now you're just applying it where you can. I think that at least you didn't lose touch with that side. So the final question is going to be, what is some advice that you would give to someone starting out on their passion to help them down a successful path?
You're doing fine. Chill the fuck out. Yeah, no, seriously. Like, I think that I can speak for myself when I say like I was my own worst enemy throughout my
Yeah.
entire process, and it's because of just the anxiety of thinking that I'm supposed to be doing this, or I'm supposed to do this, or they're doing something better than me, or I'm not doing enough. And it's like, dude, you're doing fine. Relax. Just relax. You're
Yeah.
doing fine. You have to have, I guess. So I guess to give it more words, have faith in yourself. Believe in yourself, because you're doing this because you already had it. You already visualized it. That means it's real. It's already
Yeah.
real. Now it's just a matter of trusting yourself. Trust your process. Trust yourself. It's gonna take time. Perfect example. My little cousin. She's 22, and she just started getting into just business and anything of the sort in the beginning of the year. And this entire year, it threw her a wrench, but she's just been working and working and trying to make herself better. And so the other week I spoke to her, and the first question she asked me was, "Yo, how you get an LLC?" And I looked at her like, "Who you think you are? That's what I'm talking about." And that's you know, I in the summertime she was like, "Yo, I'm tired of this, and I don't know what to do," and da da da. And like, now you asking me for an LLC? I'm like, because why? You didn't give up on yourself. You kept going. You didn't stop, and that was it. That's all you need to do. Stop. Don't give up on yourself. Don't. Perfect example. I could have stopped What's the Move when this pandemic stuff started, but
Yeah.
instead I just kept working at making it better. Don't give up on yourself, because you
Yeah.
never
It
know.
pulls you out the comfort zone.
You working you working 10 years. You only got to be right once. You only got to be right once. So just keep doing it. Keep doing your thing, because you will be right. You will be right eventually. Everything's gonna come together. And stop putting so much pressure on yourself. Chill the fuck out. You got this. That's it.
That's great advice, and y'all need to listen because all you have to do is do it.
Mhm.
So I want to take this time before you leave just to make sure that if there's anything that you want to say, anything you want to plug, you want to go ahead, shout your at name out on whatever social media, shout out, your what's the move on how, where, and how they can find you, everything there. And obviously, when I edit it, I'll be sure to write it in at the points where you're saying it. But I do want to give you that opportunity to go ahead and plug yourself and anything else that matters to you in at this time.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad we were finally able to piece this together. One thing that I always say when I'm on a podcast or a show or anything, y'all don't realize how therapeutic it is to have these type of conversations because it's like you're having a conversation about yourself. What you start to say things, you start to talk, and you start to put things into perspective for yourself. So I think this conversation was super super dope. I really loved it.
Thank
It
you.
really had me thinking about myself and what I want to do and my impact on the culture. Like it really made me think of that. So thank you so much for having me. If you want to look for me, my at is the same. It's on all social medias. It's my first and last name, Taqee Bond. If you're looking for What's the Move NYC on all social medias. And I can't wait. Just look out.
Well,
You're gonna see more of me. I'm trying to do more things. I definitely want to come back
definitely.
for another episode. So just
Yes.
keep posted.
Definitely, definitely. I appreciate you coming. I appreciate you being here and having an at length conversation with me. Is dope. Thank you for just allotting time for us to be able to get through and you to be able to say everything you need to say. So, y'all know how this goes. Y'all can follow me at Carter Mia Lisa. This was an at length conversation. Until next time, peace.